So in a few weeks, I'm releasing my game Prepare the Past, which is a 2.5D Pokemon Snap open world type game. And a few weeks ago, I realized that there was two major flaws. My game was not fun to play, and there was no payoff for the player at the end of the game. Those are huge issues that I needed to resolve. But I ended up resolving them in a way that helped me get it done super fast and allowed my game to just be so much better, and that's what I wanted to share today. So, before we get into it, guys, I just want to mention that I'm on an active journey towards making this studio profitable. 2 times a week here on this channel, I release a video about what I'm doing and why I'm doing so that we can see what to do or not to do. So if you're curious about the journey, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button and join the Discord for active updates, as well as join the Discord if you want to promote your game. The B-roll in these videos is gameplay from people in my community. So if you want to promote your game like they are, make sure to join the Discord and leave your game in the submissions tab. All right, let's get into it. So the problems that I was facing with Prepare the Past: not fun and a lack of purpose. The not fun aspect, I feel like, came from a lack of variety in the gameplay. Each enemy you just took a picture of, and the picture would go into the bestiary along with information about the enemy, and every enemy was the same, and how you interacted with the enemy and in the environment was also the same. There was not a ton of variation, which is okay, but not very fun. So that was problem number 1. Problem number 2 was there was no payoff at the end of the game. There was no incentive for the player to investigate the world more. Like, imagine it like a Zelda dungeon. And imagine you enter the dungeon and the exit is on the other side of the room, and there's no puzzles, there's no enemies, and there's no abilities or items to get. That is what my game was. You could just basically walk through the game and not do anything and beat it. So, bummer gameplay and bummer purpose for my game. So how did I fix those things? What did I add to the game to fix those? I'm going to talk about how I fixed them at the end and how I did it so quickly, but what were the actual fixes? So the first fix for the gameplay was I just added a whole bunch of abilities. I added abilities like a run ability, a double damage ability, a visor that allowed you to see things better. There's a few others, but I don't really want to give them away. But this just made it so that you experience the environment and the enemies completely different. Like, if you were to play the game and miss one of the abilities and beat it, you could do that. But then if you were to go back and play the game again and pick up the ability you missed before, it would be not a completely different game, but you would interact with the world totally different. So that was the first thing. That was the first fix. Add a whole bunch of abilities for the player to collect and go find and investigate. So what was the second fix? The purpose of the game. You know, why do I want to play it and just like walk through it? No, it needed a purpose. And the purpose was I added one more final level with a bunch of gates. And the gates only unlocked when you would scan a hidden object on a larger object. You basically needed to find the key to unlock the gate. And you find the key by finding more monsters. And I feel like this just pours back into the main purpose of the game, which is to investigate and find monsters and learn more about the world. This incentivizes the player to learn more about the world, making the player care more about it, making the player want to investigate it more, making the player want to just know more about the world they're playing in. And I feel like this really resolved the lack of purpose that I feel like was really keeping my game stuck. So yeah, abilities and, you know, this key system that I really feel like made my game way more fun to play. But how did I fix the game? How did I add all those things in just about a week? How did I do that? Well, I built off of a foundation that I had already created. So let's just take the boots. The boots are an example of an ability you can get. It allows you to sprint. I already control as a developer how fast the player runs. So this ability that you unlock just changes that thing I've already created. It just increases your run speed. Yes, I had to add an animation. That wasn't a problem. You know, another one is double damage. I already adjust and edit the damage already done by the player. So if I just make an ability that doubles the damage, that is absolutely an ability I can create. Another example is the visor you get. Again, I already determine how well the player can see the enemy, and I changed that already. Why not I just make an ability that increases the visibility of enemies? And so I really for the first issue, I built upon what had already been built. I built upon a foundation that was already set. And that is actually also how I fixed the second problem too. I already keep track of all the enemies that the player has found, you know? So why don't I just create a key that is based off of the number of enemies already found? And then again, you have to go scan it, which again is something I've already implemented. It's all about building off of a foundation that was already set. And that allowed me to just get it done really quickly, because I wasn't reinventing the wheel with these things. I wasn't adding whole new gameplay structures. You know, I kind of was, but again, I was building off of a foundation that had already been set. And I feel like that is huge. And I distinctly remember, you know, specifically with the second problem, you know, the purpose. I was like, how can I create purpose with things that have already been implemented in the game? How can I build off of the foundation that was already set? And once I came up with the solution, it just made total sense. So I encourage you guys, if you're trying to solve a problem in your game about, you know, whether the game is fun or purpose, or, you know, whether it keeps players hooked, you know, when it comes to finding those solutions, try to look in the foundation you've already set, because it will make that process so much easier. That's what I really wanted to share today about Prepare the Past. So these next few weeks, I'm going to be talking way more about Prepare the Past. I'm already starting to, you know, my previous video was about it. So really getting more into the game as we come up to the release. So again, I really appreciate everybody who's here, who is interested in the game. If you want to wishlist it, go wishlist it. That'd mean the world to me. But yeah, again, thank you guys for being here, and let me know how you solve problems in your games. But yeah, I will see you next time, guys, and have a good one. Are people still saying that? I'm sorry, that was weird, but bye, guys.